Hello and welcome to the second presentation of the Micro-Training Module 4 Topic 1 about the Sustainability Action Plan. In this part, we will talk about the Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan. A Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan, it is the application of the signaturing of Covenant of Mayors campaign that we talk about in the first part, in the first presentation of this topic. A Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan is a strategic document developed by local authorities or municipalities to outline their long-term vision, goals, and action for achieving sustainability in energy use and alleviating climate change at the local level. These plans typically incorporate a range of measures aimed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, promoting energy efficiency, transitioning to renewable energy sources, and enhancing resilience to climate impact. SECAPs involve comprehensive assessments of current energy consumption patterns, greenhouse gas emissions inventories, vulnerability to climate risks and opportunities for improvement. Based on these assessments, municipalities set specific targets and develop action plans with detailed initiatives and timelines to achieve their sustainability objectives. The key components of a Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan may include energy efficiency measures, such as implementing initiatives to reduce energy consumption in buildings, transportation, industry, and other sectors through technological improvements, behavior changes, and policy interventions. Then, a key component is the renewable energy deployment. So signatories want to expand the use of renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, hydro, and biomass to replace fossil fuels and decrease carbon emissions. Another component is the sustainable transportation. So with a SECAP, members and municipalities would like to promote in their territories public transportation, walking, cycling, and electric vehicles to reduce reliance on private cars and decrease emissions from the transportation sector. Another key component, it is the climate adaptation strategies, and then the community engagement and the stakeholder involvement. So the signatories want to involve citizens, business, and other stakeholders in the satisfaction in the reaching the goals. The Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan target and goals are to mitigate the carbon dioxide emission by 55% by 2030 year, to adapt to climate change effects, and to alleviate energy poverty. An action plan, a SECAP, is structured in two parts, the mitigation part and the adaptation part. The mitigation part is composed by a baseline emission inventory and the part of the mitigation actions to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and reach the target. The second part is about the adaptation on climate change, and it is composed by the climate risks assessment of the territory and the adaptation actions. And the aim of the adaptation actions is to strengthen the resilience of the territory to the climate risks impact. A signatory of COM can do his sustainable plan in different ways. He can do the plan in an individual way, And then another way is to do a joint SECAP. A joint SECAP refers to a plan that is carried out collectively by a group of neighboring local authorities who share the emission inventory, the actions, and the objectives. The joint SECAP aims at fostering institutional cooperation and joint approaches among local authorities operating in the same territorial area. The Covenant Reporting and Monitoring Framework has been developed in consultation with practitioners from local and regional authorities, climate and energy experts, and with the methodological support of the European Commission's Joint Research Centre, JRC. Over the course of the year 2019, the Covenant Framework was aligned with the recommendations of the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy Common Reporting Frameworks. In this slide, we provide the link to the website and to the monitoring and reporting framework. So how a signatory, a member of COM, can draft his plan? The first step, it is the analysis of the current situation about energy consumption and the evaluation of climate risks. So the supporters, so the agency which support members in the elaboration of the plans, evaluate the energy and climate situation of the area. They collect data on energy consumption, sources of energy used, and they convert the consumption in greenhouse gas emissions divided into sectors. And then they collect other relevant factors like climate risks and vulnerabilities to do a first analysis of the current situation. The sectors included in the emission inventory and in general in all the plan, also in the actions, are the following. The building sector, which is composed by the residential buildings sector, tertiary sector buildings, municipal buildings, and public lighting. The transportation sector is divided in municipal transport fleet, public transportation, and private cars. Other sectors included in the plan are productive and industrial sector, agriculture, and waste. Another important part is the energy production, which includes certified green energy, electricity generation from renewable sources, and energy production from cogeneration. The energy sources take into account for the emission inventory are natural gas, biogas and biomass, electricity, gasoline, diesel, and LPG. So, after the collection of the data and the calculation of the energy consumptions divided by sources of energy used and sector, the supporter of the member calculate and convert the consumption in greenhouse gas emission in tons of carbon dioxide emissions by multiplying the final energy consumption divided into the sectors by the emission factor. Emission factors are provided by the Joint Research Centre and they are provided into the guidebook provided by the JRC. The second part of the plan, the adaptation part, it consists of the risks assessment of the territory. The climate risks taken into account are extreme heat and extreme cold, drought, storms, heavy precipitation, floods, landslides, and fire. These risks are also linked to vulnerable sectors and vulnerable population groups. For example, the risk of floods is linked to buildings sector, mobility sector, and water sector, also civil protection sector. And the vulnerable population groups are, for example, children, elderly, persons with disabilities, who can be impacted from this risk. So the main steps of the drafting of a SECAP, of a sustainable and for climate and energy action plan, are the engagement of stakeholders. A plan actively involves all stakeholders, including citizens, businesses, local organizations, public institutions, and other entities that could contribute to the process of planning. The member has to set objectives and targets, so he has to define clear and measurable objectives to improve energy efficiency, increase the use of renewable energy, and reduce greenhouse gas emission. Another step is the identification of actions. So the member who draft a SECAP has to identify a series of concrete and specific actions that can be implemented to achieve the established objectives and targets. These actions may include energy efficiency programs, promotion of renewable energies, improvement of public transportation, encouragement of sustainable mobility, and so on. Another step is the impact assessment. So the member has to assess the impacts of proposed actions in terms of greenhouse gas emissions reduction, energy savings, economic and social benefits, and other collateral effects. Another step is the financial planning. So to draft a plan, a member has to identify the financial resources necessary to implement the actions outlined in the SECAP. Consider public and private funding sources, subsidies, tax incentives, and other forms of financial support available. Then, after approving his plan, a member, a signatory of COM, has to do the monitoring and the evaluation. So he has to establish a monitoring and evaluation system to track progress towards achieving the objectives of the plan. This system should allow for regular review and updating of the plan based on the results obtained and new challenges emerged. Once the plan is completed, the member has to ensure approval from the relevant authorities and initiate the implementation of the planned actions. And in this process, he has to involve the community. So the planner has to actively engage the local community in the implementation process of the plan, raising an awareness and sensibilize citizens in actions aimed at promoting sustainable energy and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. After the first plan, he has to review and update the plan. So the member, the signatory, has to do regularly review and update of the SECAP to account for changes in the local technological, regulatory, and economic context, and to ensure that it remains effective in achieving the established long-term objectives. On the Covenant of Mayors website, you can find the link in this slide. In the website, you can find the list and the map of the SECAP approved by signatories, and also download the plans file published by different municipalities in Europe and all over the world. For example, Modena, the city of Unimore, which is a Ugreen partner, is a Covenant of Mayors signatory, and he approved the plan in the year 2021. And in this slide you can see the screenshot of the website of the detail of Modena plan. Here in the website you can find and download the plan of Modena and take a look for an example. So this was the second presentation of the module for topic 1 about the Sustainability Action Plan. And thank you for your attention, and please go through the topic 2 of module 4.